Hey everyone. So I felt compelled to share this with the world because of some of the things I experienced lately and some of the things I've experienced my whole life. And just give me a minute to explain. And it starts off with I'm not a nerd. And I say this because people have always stuck me with this label. And their reaction to this was that they thought it was cute because they thought I was resisting who I was and I didn't want to be labeled a nerd. But I'm not a nerd. I'm a sci-fi fan, no doubt. I will never dispute that. I mean, I got a Star Wars shirt on now, but I will tell you why. And it starts off from this premise, and just bear with me. So, my view of fiction in general, science fiction and comic book fiction particularly, is that fiction is infinite. And what I mean by that is that you can start off with a character, an idea, a script, a movie, a story, a book, and that's what it is. It's the book, it's the movie, it's the story about, kids or with magical powers or intergalactic empires or whatever. And it has a tendency to grow. And so I use Star Wars as an example. I saw Star Wars back in 77 and it was very small by comparison. It was a galactic empire, but we didn't know anything about it. We didn't know who the emperor was. We didn't hear him. They mentioned him. We didn't know how big the galactic empire's army was, how many rebels there were. And we really don't still, but anyway, we didn't even have the word Sith. So since then, the fiction has grown. And one of my problems with nerdism is that nerds tend to latch on to something and that becomes the truth. So they cannot accept anything beyond that. They know that, I mean, factually, Star Wars started off really small and it grew and it got to a comfort level, maybe the level when they first were introduced to it. And that's what Star Wars or their particular brand of fiction is. And it's nothing else. And case in point, the reason why that triggered me to make this video was that I was strolling along through threads and somebody showed this production still of Thanos punching through Captain America's shield. And kids were very excited about this. That's lit. That would have went so hard. All the things that young people say today. And in the midst of all that, I said, I don't think Thanos in the comics or in the movies could punch through Captain America's shield without the Infinity Stones or gems. And immediately people came at me. What you on, bro? And emojis and all the different passive aggressive behaviors. And you don't know what you're talking about and everything. To which I responded, if I'm wrong, show me. Show me your source. And people still came at me. I was like, this is where I'm coming from. This is why I'm saying these things. The Power Stone makes you stronger. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Here's the source for it. But people are coming at me. So here I am. I'm having this conversation, of which I have some knowledge, because I remember I also read the first Infinity Gauntlet miniseries. And I've read Infinity War, Infinity Crusade. I'm familiar with the lore behind the stones and all that kind of stuff. But people are angry at me because I'm saying something that they don't believe for whatever reason. And I feel like that's the reason why I'm not a nerd. I have never been so into something that I will personally attack somebody. I might be animated and oh, this is why, yo, dog, and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not mad at you. My friend of mine and I went to on a road trip and we were discussing The Acolyte that just ended, and he gave his view, I gave mine, and we went back and forth. And as you can imagine, he got animated, but I wasn't mad at him. I didn't call him an asshole. He didn't call me a jerk. And when something shiny went by, we looked at that and we moved on. I mean, it's still like we weren't friends anymore. We took another road trip a year later. So I that is one of my main reasons why I don't feel like I have never felt really strongly about anything to the point where I got to fall out with somebody about it or just go after a complete stranger on the internet because he thinks that Thanos can punch through Captain America's shield. I don't think so. Here's why, and that's the end of it. You ain't got to call me names, man. But the other thing that has bothered me lately is this concept of blurbs. And that's not that, I mean, I understand blurbs is, black and nerds, and, I don't have a problem with that. I've met a lot of female nerds or blurbs, and they are very interested in black female characters. And I think that's cool. I wish brothers were more like that, but that's a whole nother conversation. But they seem to be over here. But the black guys, I think that they are desperate to get some sort of street cred back, or to show that they're masculine, or whatever it is that's bothering their psyche. You guys can comment if you want to. And they are heavily reliant on the N word. And I just don't understand that. I went through that as a young man, and I got to a point where I was like, I can't use this word anymore, especially referring to other brothers, especially referring to myself. I'm not one. And I don't think you are one either, unless, you working towards that, and which, God have mercy on your soul. But for those reasons, I don't think that I'm a nerd. And, so what? You're not a nerd, man. Who cares? Scroll to the next video. I mean, my more pressing concern is that, why has it got to be that way? Why can't a nerd be a person who just enjoys this fiction without getting all in their feelings about it? I mean, it's just make-believe people, man. Relax. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I hope from this conversation, maybe we can stop and think about it. I hope we can get some respectful comments in, and we can have a conversation about it. But otherwise, it's just make-believe stuff, man. Relax and enjoy the show. Comments.